I'd like to share something that I'm quite pleased about. My friend Tim Beaton, when he heard that I was moving everything over to iReal chord changes from these huge paper pads I had, and he said, well, I've got a couple of tablets, old ones I'm not using. I'll send them to you. He lives in France now. So it's an old Android and an old iPad. I'm a bit of an Android person for whatever reasons, but I had an iPhone for a while. I enjoyed it. But with the iPhone, the home button stopped working fairly soon. I got a replacement, and actually something else stopped working. Then I got another replacement, only just, because it was a while now. So that's my experience. But he sent me this, which is, I shall show you. I've written on the back. So hopefully you can see, he might be able to figure out what model it is. And it's for running iReal along with his old Android he sent me. They run iReal fine. This one, after a while, I've got a nice leather case for it because they're going pretty cheap now, as you can imagine, for an old thing like this. If people got stocks of this, they're flogging them off. I'll put it in this case because I like it. Sadly, of late, I found that the home button, rather like with my phone all those years ago, iPhone 4, was intermittent. You have to press it several times. It got there, but it was a bit like a bit irritating. I thought, oh dear, it's on the way out. Shame, because I rather like it. The screen's great. I use the iReal on it and maybe the set list for lyrics, and I watch movies become one of my favourites for whatever reason. It's quite heavy. Battery lasts well despite the age. Quality piece of kit, I thought. Shame about that then. So I looked online. Thank you, online people. And there's some workarounds. Now, one of them is to enable gestures. So if I go to I don't know, books. So you enable the gesture from books, and then you do the gestures. I think it's 3 or 4 things. It doesn't seem to really matter if you do that. It goes back. So if you can't get out of it with your home button, you can do that. Okay. The other thing, I don't know if you can see, at the side here, try and get the light right, there's a little sort of ghost of a button. Now what that is, if you go into settings, so the gestures you can see in settings is on. So that thing works. And then if you go to accessibility, assistive touch, on. And you can see, so assistive touch is on. It's a bit difficult to do this way, and you can see the shadow of something there. If I can press it watching the screen. No, I can't. Should have known better. Let me do it here. Then it brings that up, wherever you are, and then you can press, can I see it? The home screen. And it goes to home screen and it disappears out of the way, and then it fades out a bit later. So very nice. It works very nicely. So there you go. If that was the end of it, I could carry on and use it at least, and there's a way around it. However, I looked online and there was talk about this button, and somebody said put water, somebody said put this, somebody said that. So I thought about it. I thought, well, it seems to me to be a mechanical electric contact. It seems to be very, very fine fit. Very nice. And yes, over years of finger grease and fluff and finger grease and fluff and finger, if that gets in the contacts, then maybe that's why it's intermittent. Something that made me consider that as well is I noticed if I pressed at the very edge of that button, it would work more reliably. So I guess I'm tilting the switch slightly and maybe a different area of the contact is working. So I thought it's worth a shot. As they say, switch it off. Don't want any shorts or anything. And I decided to use, some people said water, some people said some kind of alcohol. Not that kind. But being a musician, I've got contact cleaner in it. Sorry about that. Don't think it matters which one. And I've got a extension nozzle, which I bent years ago because a lot of the electronic stuff you have to try and get into awkward places. So I thought this is ideal for going around the edge of that button, trying to get in the crevice. So I did that. It evaporates very quickly. And I worked the button whilst it was just after I'd done it, so if there's any stuff in there, hopefully. And afterwards I thought, it seems better. And then I thought, oh, I'm not sure if it is really, because it was a bit intermittent anyway. I thought, it hasn't killed it. Let's have another go. So I did it again. Sprayed in there and then worked it and wiggled it back and forth quite gently, because I've heard they can pop out. Second time, definitely seeing better. So the next day, I thought third time lucky. So one more go, maybe I shouldn't. But I did, one more time, and wiggled it back and forth. And I think I can report, if I go into books, that I'll get my finger on it, thumb. Very nice, the slightest touch. Hear a little click and it just does its thing. And it's been reliable like that for the past couple of days, using it a fair bit. Something else you can do is calibrate it, apparently. I'm not going to do it now because I've already done it, and I think leave well alone. But if you calibrate, if you go into, they say, I don't know, they say go into books, they say use a native app and then hold down the start button, the on-off button, if I can get to it, which I can't. And then hold it down till you get to that screen, ready to swipe it. I'll keep it held down and then hold the home button at the same time. And it takes quite some time, but eventually comes back to the home screen. And then it's calibrated it, supposedly. When I did that initially, obviously I tried the easiest things first. That didn't work. And it became more and more certain that it was actually the physical contact. So it seems to have been successful for me. It's just nicer to have the thing. It's a nice bit of kit. It's nice if you just press that and it goes back home. So there you go. I thought I'd spread the word from other people who spread the word to me, in case any of you've got the same issue. Adios.